Long ago, amidst towering peaks and green valleys, there lay a forgotten kingdom called Lorena. It was a land filled with magic, but also with noise. In Lorena, everyone spoke at once. People shouted at markets, birds chirped non-stop, waterfalls roared endlessly, and even cats meowed in duets with roosters. Each day was like a grand orchestra without a conductor. Everything made sound, but no one truly listened. At the heart of this land lived a dragon. Not the kind found in stories of evil beasts breathing fire. This one was emerald green, with scales like polished glass and eyes as calm as dawn-lit lakes. His name was Miron, and he had lived alone for many years on the Mountain of Reflection. Miron possessed a unique gift. He could understand every creature, not through words, but through silence. When someone sat near him and truly fell silent, Miron could sense what they felt, needed, or feared. But in Lorena, no one was ever silent. And so, no one knew the truth about Miron. Many believed him to be dull, unnecessary, or even strange. But Miron, he simply listened to the world, to the wind, to the quiet, and waited for someone to bring him something more precious than words. One day, a girl named Elia arrived in the lower hamlet. She had wide, listening eyes and a small pouch full of seeds from many plants. She wandered from village to village, planting whatever the people needed: herbs for sleep, flowers for joy, little trees for shade. But she was also very quiet. "Speak up, child," people yelled at the market. "Why won't you answer?" Elia wasn't mute. She simply liked to listen. And when she listened, she truly heard what others didn't say out loud. When she reached the foot of the Mountain of Reflection, she sat down, opened her pouch, and pulled out a single, unusual seed, shiny like morning dew. It was a seed of silence. Her grandmother had once told her, "This seed only grows where there are no words, only hearts." Elia closed her eyes. Golly, she stayed silent for a long time. And then... Myron awoke. He stepped from his cave, stretched his wings, and looked at the girl. He said nothing, but for the first time in many years, he felt that someone was truly listening. They didn't speak, but everything was said. The dragon sat beside Elia and watched over her through the night, and the seed of silence began to sprout. The next morning, the people of Lorena saw something astonishing. A girl walking through the valley, with a great emerald dragon following behind her. The silence between them was like a melody no one had ever heard before. At first, the villagers were afraid. But Myron did not breathe fire. Instead, he listened. He listened to children afraid of the dark, to elders who had no one to talk to fishermen who missed their families. And Elia stood beside him, planting seeds of silence wherever they were needed. And something began to change. At the markets, people started speaking more softly. Children no longer shouted over one another. When someone was quiet, no one interrupted them, but waited. And in those calm places, strange plants began to grow. Flowers that smelled of peace, trees that whispered like lullabies. Eventually, the king of Lorena invited Elia and Myron to his palace. He wanted to know how they had transformed the entire land. Elia looked at him quietly and said just one sentence: "Sometimes, the greatest power belongs to the one who says nothing, but hears everything." Moral: not everyone who speaks loudly has something important to say, and not everyone who is silent has nothing to share. Often, It is within silence that the things that change the world are found.